Si, thanks so much for agreeing to the interview.
That's okay.
Basically, what I want to ask you is what made you transition from working for someone else in account management, because that's your background,
Yeah.
to having your own business?
It was a couple of factors, I think. I think first of all, it was the fact that I kept on growing accounts with my clients, and also being given new accounts without having to pitch. And it kind of told me that people liked me and liked what I was doing. And that was kind of really the initial impetus in me kind of moving on and setting up on my own. I kind of thought, if I can do it for them and I can do it and kind of create business and get ongoing business, then I must be able to do it for myself. Then the second thing that happened was there was quite a big change in the agency I was at. At the same time, my partner in my business now, it was quite a big change in his agency, and so it's kind of almost like that perfect timing to give it a go, really.
So, like, stepping back from that, because I'm going to come back to that in a sec, can you, because I think it's quite interesting for other account managers, because they might have their eye on running their own business at some point. So
yeah.
What kind of background did you have in the lead up to the decision to change? Like, tell us a bit about how you got into account management in the first place.
Well, I came out of uni, like everyone, and didn't really know what I wanted to do specifically. And I got initially into quite a small agency, just as work experience. Work experience went on to getting a job. I was in the first place for about 3 years, kind of just moving up the ranks before I came to Publicis and started working there, where I worked for 5 years. So it was, I mean, although I thought about doing stuff earlier, I think it would have been a bit premature if I hadn't had all of that grounding and all of that experience, kind of running accounts, really from the bottom up, understanding kind of how accounts work, and then as you move up, understanding how a business works, and be able to kind of look after your own business unit, your own kind of group of accounts. And really that's the basis of essentially having a small business. And if you can see it, when you're running that many accounts, if you can see that as a small business and work out how to make them profitable, how to grow them, then that's really great training to then move into running your own business, I think.
Yeah. If you could, what are the skills do you think you need to have to be a really excellent account manager?
The biggest skill is probably how personal you are, is kind of the softer skills, I guess. So your ability with clients, your ability to gain that trust, be able to read them, be able to understand them, and then that allows you to be able to work with them in the most efficient way. And then also using those same skills internally, running your team, whether it's managing up or managing down. I think that's probably the key skill. After that, it's, a lot of it's about process and organisation. And, that you can either do or you can't, but the softer skills, they're a lot harder to learn, I think.
Do you think you can teach softer skills?
Not easily, I don't think. It's because, I don't know, it's about people's ability to read other people, and I think it's kind of you've got to be really honest with yourself, and kind of take a lot of criticism to be able to learn softer skills. Because you're tapping into what it is about your personality that really kind of defines whether you can or can't read a person. And so you have to be open for people to actually turn around to you and say, look, you're reading this situation completely wrong. This is how it's actually happening. And then to be able to take that on board. So I think you can learn them, but I think it takes a good person to teach them and an even better person to have the willingness to actually want to learn that.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a lot of honesty. If you say, I don't really understand that, then, there's a huge amount of honesty in that.
Like, if you were going into a meeting with someone who was quite junior in account management, And what you've just said is your ability to read someone, read the situation.
Yeah.
How would you coach someone in that situation? If you were just about to go into a meeting and you wanted them to read the situation, what are the steps? What would they have to do to prove to you that they were reading the situation?
I think a lot of it is listening, active listening. It's not just about sitting there and thinking you know the answers. You've got to, or know the question even. You've got to sit there and you've got to really listen to what they're talking about. Intelligent question asking is key. If you're listening well, then you know the questions to ask to be able to get the answer. Now, if you jump in too early and you start kind of giving suggestions and recommendations, it can be quite fatal, because if you haven't got all of the information, then you won't be able to kind of make that next step to actually suggesting something that's really relevant to that person.
Yeah, that's an excellent way of describing it. Really, really good. Yeah, really good.
So if I've got an account manager who's going into a meeting, the advice is listen and ask sensible questions.
Yeah, totally. Fantastic. Okay, so going back to your transition to owning your own company, if someone was watching this and they're at that point where they're quite senior, they're running their own business unit, they've got a few accounts and they think, I can do this on my own, what are the steps you take to set up your own business?
It's kind of huge and quite small at the same time. I think the big thing is your place in life, kind of financially, and in terms of when you set up your own business, you've got to realise that every day is going to be a fight. You wake up and you fight and you fight and you fight and you fight, and then you go to bed, and the next day you do exactly the same. Whether it's going well or it's going badly, you're still going to have to fight. So if your life is not in a situation where you can do that, then that's one of the big things. Of course, financially, kind of understanding that businesses take a long time to become profitable and actually take off. And do you have the ability financially to support yourself over the time? You can predict what you're going to do in the first year and the second year, but very rarely do those predictions come true. So I think that's the first two things. Kind of mentally, are you ready for the fight and up for the fight? And secondly, financially, are you ready and kind of know exactly what's going to be happening over the next year or 2 years?
Yeah.
So those first two things. I mean, the one thing that I did find was that in terms of the security, it's kind of quite nice, because if it doesn't work out, it does feel like you can get a job or kind of go back into the normal world of business and account handling pretty easily and pretty quickly. I mean, for the first 3 months, every day I'd have another recruiter calling me up, having found me on LinkedIn, seeing if I wanted to go for another interview. So I think, if you've got a good basis in account handling, then you'll be able to get a job pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So that shouldn't be too much of a problem. So I guess those are the first two. Then it's really about kind of this understanding if you have the knowledge and the skill to be able to not only run accounts, but be able to get business, be able to get, make the cold calls, go in, do the kind of all the new business work, all the footwork, and then understanding what side of the business that you're actually kind of doing. For us, it was very much focused on the digital side and the branding side, and knowing that your ideas within that are progressed enough to be able to kind of continually evolve. Because if you don't understand that well enough, you'll get quite static and staid, and you won't be able to kind of evolve enough as you move forward, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's good insight. And what you said before, like, it's a fight. Like, what's been the biggest challenge of this? Like, what's been the biggest When you say fight, what do you mean by fight?
Well, it's because you lose you lose the kind of financial security of knowing that month in, month out, you're getting a paycheck, and through the door you're going to get X thousand, and they'll see you to the next month, and then you can carry on. You sit there, and it's a very scary situation, knowing that in 2 months or 3 months you're not going to potentially not going to have any new business coming in or any work coming in, and knowing that it takes 3 months to go, or 3 to 6 months to go from an initial meeting to actually getting paid for a job, it means that if you're looking in 3 months and thinking, okay, that's quite a long time away, it's really not. So it's really kind of thinking, okay, I'm getting up today, I've got to do all the work that I'm doing currently. I've got to make sure that the jobs happen and go ahead, and that we do the best possible job, because nothing sells you like a really good job, a really successful job. But then at the same time, continue that work thinking, okay, what's happening in 2 weeks? Who have I contacted? How many people? What stage are each of these people? And so it's not just a fight to get the job that you're doing now as brilliant as you can, and not just to make sure that you're doing all the PR that you can do or doing all the marketing that you do, but it's also making sure that you're getting all those contacts and getting the meetings in the diary and doing all the unpaid stuff. So in 3 months' time, you actually have another meeting and another job, kicks off. And new business is never easy, and that is the real fight, I think.
So you're wearing multiple hats. You're doing the really good job. You're looking for the pipeline to feed the new business pipeline.
Yeah.
You're having marketing meetings. You're networking, multiple.
Yeah. So yeah, and plus in a small business like we are, you also have to look at all your financial stuff and your tax records and everything else. So it's not only doing the account handling; it's also doing all the business stuff as well. Have you paid your rent this month, or the electricity bill? All the stuff that you do at home. It's all of that stuff as well. So it's massively time consuming, but exhilarating at the same time.
Well, that's what I was going to go on to. What about the highlights of what you're doing now? Like, what's the best?
I think the first time that we had a shoot, and it was a big 2-day shoot, and everyone was there because of us. It was a real kind of sense of not just satisfaction, but knowing that not only we created the opportunity, the creative was good enough and the strategy was good enough, and now we're actually bringing other people on to actually do the work in turn, and then we're getting it out, and the satisfaction of seeing your work kind of get out there. And if you're lucky enough to win awards as well. So, it's that whole process, knowing that none of that would have ever happened if you hadn't one day said, right, I'm quitting today and I'm starting up my own business,
That is amazing. I can understand why it would be exhilarating.
Yeah, it really is.
Have you ever thought, oh no, I can't do it anymore? I mean, have you had those moments? I can't do it anymore. I mean, it's kind of the old saying, when you're up, you don't kind of celebrate too much, and when you're down, you don't get down too much. It's kind of a bit like that. We probably should have, but we've never kind of gone out for massive champagne celebrations when we've won business, and at the same time, we've never kind of kicked ourselves too hard when stuff isn't going so well. So I think, at this stage, that stability really helps. And yeah, I mean, there's times when, we did a pitch, we're up for, 36 hours solid to get it all ready and done. At the end of it, we actually won the pitch, but then over the next 2 months, the budget went down and down and down, and that is
really a tough pill to take, but all it does, it spurs you on again to look back into your pipeline, to look back into the new biz, and to contact the next person, and of course it turned good because we had that kind of the need to really push that. So suddenly you lose one client, but you gain 3 or 4 clients.
Yeah.
So it's tough, but it can usually turn out well.
So if someone was watching this and they're a senior account manager, a senior account director, or client services director, or even account manager, I mean, whatever, any level, what's the one piece of advice that you would give to them about stepping into working for yourself?
I think it's the fight. I mean, we've kind of talked about it a bit already today. I think it's massively. Sorry, my battery's just running low.
Oh, no.
It's massively, yeah, it's massively exciting. But my one bit of advice: just be prepared to absolutely fight. And if you're prepared for that, then the likelihood is you will succeed. It's or even if you don't succeed, you know that you've given it absolutely everything that you can.
Yeah. Okay.
It was there's a quote from Will Smith, which is about a treadmill, and he said, I'm not the best actor, but it's like if we're both on the treadmill, I'm running, and either I'm going to fall down or you're going to fall down, or you're going to get off, and that's it. And that's what it feels like. You're just on that treadmill. You've just got to run, until hopefully you succeed.
Wow, that's very motivating. You know that. Okay, tell us about Man Plus Hatchet. Tell me about you. You've worked with some brilliant clients. So let's have a bit of a plug for the agency.
Yeah, no, we've been really lucky. We've been going just under 2 years now, and we've been working with an electricity company called Ecotricity. We're doing work with Swarovski and with Warehouse and with Diesel Jeans. So we've got a really great mix of clients. We've also just started work with a new Telefonica company doing branding as well for them. So we're really lucky with the clients that we've got. So we call ourselves an audience-winning advertising agency. So we are focused more on the digital side, but what we believe is anything we produce needs to win audiences. Kind of in the modern sense of thinking more virally than kind of paid advertising. So that's who we are. We work out of Hoxton Square. So if anybody's out there want to come around for a cup of tea, more than welcome. And our ethos is just to be as creative and to create as much entertainment as we can with the creative that we produce, basically. That's an awful saying. Maybe I should redo that.
Well, honestly, I've seen some of your work and it's absolutely amazing. So I can totally vouch for the quality of what you're producing. I just think it's incredible. And those names that you've got on your client list already, having just been in business 2 years, is astounding. So if anyone wants to come and get in contact with you, what's the best way of doing that?
If you go to our website, our contact details are on there. We've got quite an individual website, as you probably know. We decided to actually build a machine for our website rather than produce something digitally. But yes, so that's Man Plus Hatchet, plus.com. So manplushatchet.com. And you'll find our contact details on there.
Brilliant. Well, Simon, thank you so much. This has been really, really informative, and I'm sure a lot of people watching this have been inspired by what you've said today.
I hope so. I really hope so.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.